What's up, everybody? We are live, the Philly Blitz pod, pod number 89, Johnny Wilson pod, the Jack Stoll pod, if you will. The preview before the preview. We got some fun storylines to preview, but we also got a very special guest today that we'll get to in a second. But I'm Parth here with Pierre and Quell. How are you two doing today, guys?
Brother, is it Sunday yet?
Dude.
It's the one thing that's been on my mind, bro. I'm chomping at the bit, bro.
Well, beloved Dub, to those who celebrate, it is I, the one and only Mark Quell Fripp Owens. I mean, I can only wish to echo your sentiments, Pierre. I'm trying to take it one day at a time. I was beginning to do, I told myself last week I was going to dedicate it to some decompressing and catching up on some draft content. And then I started my prep for the Chiefs game today. And the first thing I did, cut on a Chiefs podcast, and I'm over here listening to them talk about how, because we're going to win. We're going to win. And I'm like, oh, okay, this is interesting. That's nice to know. So like you said, man, I'm just absolutely excited for Sunday. My face looks as stoic as Jalen Hurts looked when he came out the tunnel just a minute ago for media day.
Then he saw the TV and he's like, so I wonder what was on the TV. What was on ESPN that made Jalen react like that? He saw it. He was like, maybe he was like saw some of the Luka trade again. He's like, yep, still doesn't make sense. Anyways, so like we mentioned a little bit earlier, we got a very special guest today. We got Kenny Curcio. I don't want to butcher your last name, Curcio. He's about to join the stage, but basically he made this song, Philadelphia Bleed Green. It's got 8.7K views on YouTube in just 2 months. Become a little bit of a Philadelphia mini celebrity. I saw his song on Instagram, just came up in the Eagles algorithm for me. But we're very excited to have him and get to ask him a couple questions. So welcome, Kenny.
How you doing? Thanks for having me on.
Thanks so much for joining us, dude. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. Go Birds. Let's go.
Birds.
I'm ready for Sunday.
That's what we like to hear, dude. I mean, last week we barely got through it. This week I feel like we'll even be longer. I was thinking about it last week. Like, I don't know if there's a longer 2-week period that you have to get through in the football season than the one in between these two. Now, obviously, it's a spoiled problem. You're in the Super Bowl if you go through it, but regardless, I mean, especially with what the Pro Bowl has become now, it's ridiculous, man. But like we said, thanks so much for joining us. And you got your song "Bleed Green." Tell us a little bit about it. Like, what inspired you to create it? What was the whole process behind it?
Yeah, so I grew up an Eagles fan and growing up playing football and baseball. And I'm from South Jersey, so about a half an hour from Philly. I remember going to Veterans Stadium as a young kid and seeing them play there. So, and then I've always been involved in music. Started when I was a young kid and then started writing. And I went full time with it about 6 years ago. So this song, me and my co-writer Al, we were at a tailgate a few years ago, and that's what kind of started. We were like, let's write a song about the city of Philadelphia. And then from there, we started talking about the Eagles. And then this past spring is when we, Al had the title Bleed Green, and then we kind of just took it from there. So that's kind of how it started.
That's awesome.
So Parth, he brought up the amount of views a couple minutes ago. What's kind of been your reaction, I guess, to kind of how the song has been received? Like, I know I saw that you were on CBS Philadelphia.
Yeah, so we were on CBS Philadelphia, Fox 29. It's been amazing. The reach across all socials. I think we're almost at like 500,000. That's including like Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. You mentioned YouTube, and it's just reached a ton of people. We weren't really expecting it to put up the numbers that it has, but it's been really cool, man. A lot of people love it. We've done a lot of tailgates at the link, and we're just kind of along for the ride here. We're excited for the Super Bowl, and we just want to connect it with more people and just hype up the fan base and the team. And it's going well. So we'll see. After the Super Bowl, what happens then.
So
Absolutely.
You mentioned how you grew up in South Jersey, big Eagles fan. You just mentioned a second ago how you guys get in your tailgates at the link when you can. So tell the people, do you own a favorite Eagles jersey? And is there any specific superstition that has followed you through the years that you try to stick through before you watch your Eagles games or when you watch it?
So I've been rocking the Jalen Hurts #1 jersey, and my wife actually got that for me a couple of years ago. So that's one that I've been, I think he's kind of taking the team on his back and really just proved himself to the team and to the city, and he's playing awesome. So I really like what he's doing, and I don't have any superstitions that I could think of, but Al was saying that he wears the same Philly Eagles socks since the start of September. He said he hasn't taken them off yet. So I don't know if he was messing around with me or he's being serious, but yeah, man, we're just having fun with it and we're just seeing where it goes. And yeah, man, we're just excited for this Sunday.
Absolutely. Dude. And you mentioned yourself what's going to happen after the Super Bowl. Like, if a Super Bowl victory would help any song and anything Eagles related out a ton. And you said the right thing there with the Hurts jersey. Very pro Hurts podcast right here. We got the Hurts expert to my left. I don't know. Yeah, left here. I'm like thinking about my directions and everything. But anyways, give us a little bit of your little analysis for this game. What are you expecting, and what do you think is going to happen? Give us a little prediction, man.
So I think the team is just firing on all cylinders right now. You have the Chiefs that have won 2 straight Super Bowls. The Eagles are they're going to go in and they're going to get the job done, man. I'm looking forward to a parade on Broad Street this year, man. The way the team's playing, the defense, and everybody. I think that's going to happen. I think we're going to get it.
Absolutely, dude, and hopefully we can play Bleed Green in the during the parade, right? Like that'd be nice.
That's right, man. The lyric in it is Broad Street rocking wall to wall. So I'm looking forward to that actually happening and coming to fruition, man. That'd be awesome.
Seriously, dude, we're due for another parade. Especially, I was thinking back to 2022 for a while, and like, dude, the Super Bowl loss and then the Phillies too. I just like, and the Sixers are the Sixers as always. It's just like, I was like, that was a lot of misery for one city for 1 year. So we're due, man. But anyways, thank you so much for joining us. And why don't you give us your plugs, man? Where can people follow?
Wait. Sorry. I got one more question for you before we let you go, man. Do you have any upcoming projects, performances, or anything that you like the people to keep an eye out for?
So I'm playing this Friday at Bogies in Pittman, and this Saturday I'm at the Mile in Runnymede, 8 to 11 on Saturday and 6 to 9 on Friday. So I'll be playing Bleed Green. So anybody in the area, South Jersey, Philly area, come out to those 2 shows. It's going to be a lot of fun. And they can find the song on my website. It's KennyCurcioMusic.com. Also Facebook, Instagram, Spotify, and Apple Music. They can find Bleed Green. Add it to your playlist, and let's get hyped for this Sunday and just keep this going, man. Keep rocking Bleed Green.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, man.
No, but I appreciate you guys having me. This is great, and keep in touch.
Absolutely,
for sure.
Yeah, we'll keep in touch when we win the Super Bowl, man. We'll do this again.
Yeah, party on Broad Street, man.
That's right. Thanks, guys.
Thanks so much, dude.
It's a pleasure, man.
Yeah, man. See you.
That was awesome. Real deal artist guest on the Philly Blitz. I mean, where else are you getting this content, man? You get the analysis, you get the on the ground boots on the ground knowledge. Come to the Philly Blitz, baby. Anyways, what we wanted to do today was kind of go through some of the storylines. Some of y'all might have seen our very own Quell was tweeted by FanDuel, right?
Yeah.
FanDuel, they tweeted out his tweet about DeVonta. Why don't you give us a little rundown on that, Quell?
So I was doing a little homework, like I said, on the game. I was supposed to be doing a hiatus last week, but the game was on my mind. The 2 weeks is a long, long time. And as I was thinking it, I was looking at some of these college prospects, and made me wonder, how many guys have there ever been to win a Heisman Trophy win a national championship, and win a Super Bowl. So I started doing research, dug into the analysis, and at first I found 3, which makes sense. I believe it was Marcus Allen, Tony Dorsett, and Charles Woodson. Now, of course, they try to keep the 4th option away from you in Reggie Bush, who the NCAA took away his Heisman Trophy. But as we all know, last year he was able to get it back, which actually puts him back on this list. So this means DeVonta Smith has the opportunity to become the 5th player in history to accomplish all 3: a Heisman Trophy, an NFL championship, and a national championship. And the sweetest part about it is him being able to do it just outside of his hometown, in his home state, and to be able to have the opportunity to get revenge on a team that's why he's not a Super Bowl champion in the first place. I mean, I don't think it gets any more sweeter for DeVonta here.
And especially against a guy who he's averaged 100 or just under 100 yards against in terms of the defense. So I think it'll be a big DeVonta day, regardless, because they got to worry about AJ Brown. You worry about AJ Brown. Oh yeah, we got Slim Reaper on the other side. So
yeah, and that's been my biggest thing. Like when you think about DeVonta heading into this matchup, just the overall success that he's had against Steve Spagnuolo defenses. Like, I don't know if it's because, which I know last year they played more man coverage than they have this year, but like I said, I don't know if it's because they tend to, play more man and it's easier for DeVonta. It seems like he has more success versus man than zone. But yeah, I think he's in for a big day on Sunday.
Absolutely, dude. I'm excited.
Certainly enough, man. Oddly enough, I just think it's just a matchup because it seems, at least statistically, when the Eagles run their offense, it seems like AJ Brown is the man coverage beater, and Smitty seems to find this way, always find a hole in the zones. But as you mentioned, Pierre, when they played the Chiefs have historically played a lot of man coverage. Now, I mean, of course, this isn't a full preview, so we'll get into how we really feel about the game on the next podcast. But I mean, it seems as if Spags has found a way to switch it up a lot this year. Now, of course, we know it's the Chiefs, so I'll be interested to see exactly what he breaks out, how to confuse Jalen and things of that nature.
Absolutely, dude. I've been tapped into all the podcasts I can get. I'm getting to the point where I got through everything, and then I'm searching Eagles on Spotify and YouTube, just trying to find any content. I'm like, can I cop a scroll? Anything for some Eagles content right now. But yeah, it'll just be interesting because the thing about Jalen, we've talked about it all the time, is he's better against man than he is against zone, and it's actually similar for Mahomes this year. Obviously, it's not as drastic of a difference. It's like 1st to 12th or something versus 3rd to 21st or something like that. But just interesting storylines within the game. So it'll be interesting, and it's always interesting when you're going against the Chiefs and their coaching staff, because it's what so much of Philadelphia is used to seeing from their team, right? Spagnuolo came up under Jim Johnson, so you just see the influences of those early Eagles defenses that so many of the old heads here kind of know about and watch for years. So that's always just interesting to see. And I mean, their defenses. Yeah, go ahead.
It just intrigues me, and I mean, I guess everyone has their flavor. We'll never really know truly if it's a Howie Jeffrey thing or if Nick really is fond of this Vic Fangio scheme, which is the reason we continue to harp on it. But a reason I bring that up, I just think it's cool, as how you mentioned that Jim Spags is a play off the legendary Jim Johnson in his days and his time to be spent with him in Philly. But Andy Reid seems to have a real liking for that defense. Of course, he spent the time with Jim Johnson here in Philly, and now for him to bring in Spags as the guy to run a variation of it, it also makes me wonder, is that why he has the Buffalo Bills number offensively? Because Sean McDermott was also on that staff too. So it's an interesting tie to everything.
Absolutely. Those early Eagle staffs, I mean, the reach is pretty nuts from Andy. You got go ahead.
I feel like if you look around all 32 teams, somewhere, some way, whether it's front office or coaching staff, there's a connection to the Eagles.
Yeah. When you add front office in there as well. But now, it's either like you're from the Andy Reid tree or you're from like the Shanahan tree at this point, in some way, shape, or form in terms of coaching. Just some offshoot of it. pretty crazy, dude. That it all started in Philly. This was an interesting storyline. Someone just mentioned in our chat here. 3 players are coming from terrible teams to their first Super Bowls. We know about Mekhi, we know about Saquon, and I guess you can add Bryce Huff in there as well. But there's also DeAndre Hopkins, Zach Bond as well. And I was gonna get to the Bond piece in a second, but dude, that Instagram story. Can you imagine how the hell he feels right now, dude? Walking around that place, going to the same locker room. And I was thinking about it. I hope they gave him the same locker. I hope they did, because that like you just back at home,
Chauncey, man.
Like exactly. And they got rid of him. And I saw Saints fans talking about Loomis, right? That's their that's their GM. They're like, Loomis is never. Yeah, he's never going to see the gates of heaven. He's going straight to hell for trading Chauncey and Bond, because I mean, you just think about it. He was a special teamer there. If he signed a 1-year contract to be a special teamer and maybe play, like chances are, like if he doesn't have like a good season on special teams this year, he could be out of the league. He's just like a fringe roster guy, and he's an all-pro DPOY like level player, and to just go back and to be playing the Super Bowl there. I mean, just what a gratifying feeling, man. Just so happy for him. And then they had his picture up in the locker room. Just that's cool, dude. That's really cool.
And not even just Zach, man. Chauncey too. He was drafted to New Orleans, and him coming back, like it's storylines galore across the matchup.
So talk to me about, since we're talking about the defensive coordinators and things of that nature.
Wait, sorry. Well, one more thing. Devin White's injury changed the whole team. Yeah. Accountability group chat strikes again.
It ain't changed the team, because Vic Fangio knew what he wanted. He knew who his starter was going to be. Yeah, he said from the very first time he came out there. The very first time.
Zach Bond in his first press conference.
Zach Bond was the first linebacker he mentioned.
Exactly. So, I mean, he was going to put in his fight for him. After he's seen that tape, I'm sure you guys have seen my tweet by now, going back and quote the Adam Scheffler, the Eagles have signed Zach Bond. I believe it was March 11th, 2024. And this is Vic Fangio, like, this is my next creation. It's a big one. What can you say, man? The things that he's been able to do with Zach Bond, I don't think we can realistically say no one has saw this coming. We mentioned this last part about how there are some who recollect Spags as the best big game.
I'm sorry, I'm interrupting you one more time, but before we move on from Bond, I just wanted to talk about it real quick. You guys think he's back next year? Like he's got to be, right?
Yeah, I think he is.
Because it's an interesting conversation, Pierre. Because first off, we know how he's history, right? And of course, history he can buck trends like he did in the last year with Saquon. But Bond is 28. It's one good year. I mean, I would pay him personally, because I think Fangio knows what he's doing with him, and if Fangio's here, you just keep him. And I'm personally hopeful that he sees that as well. That like, this is the guy who saw it in me, like figured it out. I fit this defense well. But if somebody comes in and just offers him a ton of money, I don't know.
That's my biggest fear right there. The fact how well he played, the fact how he was utilized. It's a copycat league, and nobody knew how to use him. And now that Fangio has laid out the blueprint, if somebody basically gives him all he wants in terms of a contract, how could he say no? Especially when we see what makes matters worse is, I mean, granted, Zach Bond is still playing right next to him, but you see Oren Burks come in and he played well. You see Jeremiah Trotter come in and he played well. It's like he's just some kind of linebacker whisperer. He just knows the position. So, I mean, I think it's one of two things. If you're Howie, I think it's one of two things. If you're Howie, you kind of have to pay him, because you know that you don't really value this position, and you kind of hit gold right here. So you don't want to let him out of town, so you don't have to continue to value the position. Or you can say, I've seen Vic Fangio do it with dirt cheap less. Right. Let's just go get somebody else to fill this void.
That's the other side of it, yeah.
But yeah, to that point, Quell, like you mentioned Jeremiah Trotter and Oren Burks. I think the difference is, like, you see the way Zach Bond is played in this defense, right? And like just in terms of the fit, like you talked about, Parth, but I think his usage, like the way that Fangio uses him, I don't think that can be like duplicated. Like Burks has come in, he's replaced Nakobe Dean. Whenever Trotter's come in, he's replaced N'Kobe Dean. Like the way they use Bond, I think that's the difference as to why
I mean,
it'll be priority to resign.
It can be replicated. It's just only one possible way it could be replicated. I mean, if you guys follow me on Twitter, you guys know the movement I've been pushing. If Zach Bond goes, the only way to fix this problem is to bring me another dog. Or I'm looking at you, Jalen Walker.
Mm-hmm.
You are a Philadelphia Eagle.
Is he gonna be there though?
He should. Depends on how the league feels.
Brother, they're not gonna have any. They're not gonna have any picks.
It's a really deep class. It's a really deep edge class. So
it's okay. Just get used to having one pick per year for the next 4 years. It's fine.
You said Abdul Carter, brother. We get Myles Garrett.
I do.
We get Myles Garrett.
I want the guy who's fighting for Jalen Hurts on Instagram in the comments, brother. Do you know how much of a sicko you have to be? Look, Myles Garrett, Flash Gordon, Hall of Fame player, first ballot, everything. Give me the guy who is standing up for Jalen Hurts on Instagram in the comments. Give me that, please. I need it.
I want the Hall of Fame.
I'm not going to argue it.
I want
the you guys have a valuable point. You guys know my
the fact that we're even having these conversations, bro. Like
we feel like the Lakers.
Yeah, I tweeted that. I was talking to Kenny G, friend of the pod, on Twitter, and he was like, "Oh, Falcons," and I was like, "Nah, brother, he's an Eagle." And he's like, "You guys have enough," and I was like, "This is what Lakers fans feel like."
I saw something after the Luka trade. They were like, somehow the Lakers always managed to fail up. And it's kind of similar to the Eagles. Like every time there's
no. For the last couple of years, but we paid our dues. Yeah. The Lakers have failed up at every point in history. It's ridiculous. Adam Silver made this shit happen, and nobody's changing my mind on that, dude. This is
a ratings ploy.
This is ridiculous. They go from Kobe to LeBron to Luka. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Like that's ridiculous, man. Like that's not even fair. It's crazy, but. Let's see. What? So we talked about Bond. Oh, Quell, you had a point about Spags, right?
So we heard people refer to him over the last few weeks or so as the best big game assistant coordinator in the league. I mean, it's hard to argue at this point. It does sound like a little bit of munching, but it's hard to argue when you think about how he's the one who stopped 19-19-0. That was Spags and that Giants defense. He's the one who conquered the Patriots a second time. And then look at what he's been able to accomplish in this run with the Chiefs. He's pretty damn good. Now, you look on the other side of the ball, is the man's not so shabby himself, Big Zen, as we like to refer him to as. So, I guess the question I pose to you guys, because, I mean, this is the conversations we have all year long, all the time, specifically in the off season. And you guys have cost your hell about this type of scheme, but we no longer have, as we like to refer to, the bastardized version. Which scheme would you prefer? What Spags likes to do up front and all this freakishy?
Brother, you know me. Why are you
asking? I know that's why I brought the conversation.
Don't ask me this question. I came around to Big Zen.
I feel like Vic Fangio should be the difference in the conversation now.
It's only because it's Fangio and this defense is so elite, but I still just baseline don't like the style of defense. And and Fangio has the reason Fangio is different is because he doesn't just run this defense. We've seen him do different types of things, and it's not just being stuck in bend don't break. Because quite honestly, if we go bend don't break in this game, I don't think it would work very well. If you give them cushion and just give them space and just say, "Oh, take the underneath stuff,"
that's how they want to play. Like I was looking through the stats earlier, and this team offensively is like that Rams team we played, where they lack in the explosive play department. That's not really their thing. And we joked about how teams that like to play death by 1,000 paper cuts, they could. I don't want to say they can beat this defense. They'd make it annoying, but I mean. Who wants to? That was the whole reason why teams gravitated to this Fangio scheme. Because if you want to play death by 1,000 paper cuts, I don't think you could not make a mistake at some point. And now here we are in the epitome of that conversation in the biggest game.
Exactly,
it's cool.
And it's like we saw the bastardized version just get cooked by any mediocre We saw Patrick Mahomes cook the bastardized version at home, and like he put up one of the best stat lines of his career. I think he had like 2 incompletions or something like that. So and that was a totally different version of this offense as well. This offense doesn't get explosive plays. Like they just don't. They have like a minus 17 ratio in terms of explosive plays. It like they are not an explosive offense. So they're willing, most of their yardage comes from yak, right? There was like that stat, Patrick Mahomes has 454 passing yards and like 405 of them were yak yards, so they gotta play up close on them. This can't be, and they've been doing that. And that's why I appreciate Fangio. And that's kind of a circular way of getting to it, but we've seen them press up on the receivers and take the air out of it and not let them just get the space and the underneath stuff. We've seen them adjust, and that's what I like about Fangio. And I think the conversation then, Quell, I think it comes down to, I just want a damn good defensive coordinator. I don't care about scheme. Just make it work, bro. Because we still see some pressures from Fangio. I like when we see that. Now, obviously it's not Spags level, but I just want competency, man.
Yeah, I think the difference, when you look at, in the past, how Fangio has kind of defended this Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes offense, and we're going to get into the matchup on Friday, but I think the difference with this defense is he has the personnel that's exactly suited for what he wants to do, right? So, like, if he wants to press, he can do that. If they want to play, off, soft zone, they can do that. So I think, because this matchup, like you just talked about, this Chiefs offense, they're more predicated on yards after the catch. They excel with the ball in their hands versus, like we've seen in past years, them, throwing 40, 50-yard explosives down the field. I think the difference here is Fangio has the personnel for what he wants to do. And I think, like we've seen, throughout this year, they can be adaptive. Like, he adjusts. That was the difference between that's why they lost in 2022 with Jonathan Gannon. They didn't adjust anything on defense after halftime.
I won't say they didn't adjust, but nothing worked.
He didn't
all
adjust
I could think about,
brother,
he did, bro, because all I could think about is when we got to the red zone and they called that cover 0, and we like, why'd you blitz Mahomes? Why are you blitzing Mahomes? You ain't blitzed all year long, and you called a blitz now.
He was too busy. He was too busy prepping for the Arizona Cardinals interview.
He's 12-23 in 2 seasons. Something like that.
I mean, I guess
but
Bozo.
Okay.
Bozo.
But while we're on the Fangio topic, right? Like, and I think we've all heard this, and we're gonna hear it discussed ad nauseum this week. But the Fangio versus Patrick Mahomes factor. Fangio is 0-8 in his career versus Patrick Mahomes all time. Where you guys stand on that?
It's so hilarious that you say this, because Shavin and I were having an interesting conversation earlier. I believe it was earlier today, where I don't even remember how we got here, but basically the black and white point of the conversation was she don't think an NFL player can impact like the overall concept of a game. And I'm like, basically like how a basketball player can. Like because with basketball, you can have one specific player who can dominate the game. And her point is because they play on both sides of the ball. Versus in the NFL, you don't, unless you're Travis Hunter, you're a one-sided person. So you might dominate your side, but that doesn't change the outcome of what happened on the other side, which in turn, how could you really take over, for lack of a better term, a game? And I mean, I guess my whole point of bringing this up was more so when you look at Vic Fangio, that's kind of the situation where he was in, where I see her point. Because when I was arguing, like if you ask me, Lawrence Taylor, Aaron Donald, hell, Jalen Carter nowadays, these guys take over games. AJ Brown can take over a game. We watched Saquon Barkley do it all year long. So, I mean, that was my point. But now, I mean, as I sit here and we have this conversation, I see what she's saying, because I mean, Vic Fangio, he's 0-8 against Mahomes. But if you go back and look at the statistics of those games, his defenses have done almost everything they possibly could to limit Mahomes in that offense. But because they were getting limited production on the other side of the ball, how much did him limiting Mahomes really impact the outcome of that game?
It's definitely like a nuanced convo. Like a lot of people, I think they tend to look at it like, oh, well, Fangio, he's just 0-8 in his career versus Mahomes. Like, he just can't beat the guy. But I mean, like, you got to consider, and this is something that I've said every time, I've heard this topic broached, like, Fangio has never had the offense to hang with this
Defense.
Chiefs offense, right? Or
Oh,
yeah,
offense.
yeah. Like
No,
in
I
the
know
8
what you're saying.
games, yeah, I have the stats here. In the 8 games that Fangio has faced Patrick Mahomes, Fangio's offenses have scored 6 points, 3 points, 16 points, 16 points again, 9 points, 24 points, 14 points, and 7 points. That's an 11.9 average. And also in those 8 games, the Chiefs have scored 6 defensive or special teams touchdowns. So I think, there's a lot of context that often gets lost when you talk about the Fangio and Mahomes storyline. Like, if you just take out those 6 defensive or special teams touchdowns that I just mentioned, Fangio's defenses have held Mahomes to 24.1 points per game. His defenses have ranked in the top 10 in scoring twice against Mahomes and top 10 in yards 3 times since his first matchup with Mahomes in 2019. So there's a lot of
Mahomes has thrown 10 touchdown passes in 8 games. Which is like, for Mahomes, it's like, that's it's not that crazy, right? And I know it's like, 10 touchdowns in 8 games, but like you said, Pierre, a lot of it is just like they don't have the dogs on offense and they can't score the ball. They just keep giving him the ball back, keep giving him chances, or they turn the ball over and give him touchdowns. Other side of it, Fangio, when he's faced Mahomes, has never had a defense as talented as this one. Like, he just hasn't. The Broncos had some good players at certain places. Dolphins have had some nice guys at certain places, but the cohesiveness of this unit and the talent at each level, Fangio hasn't had that when he's faced Mahomes, and I think that changes the equation because it opens up the entire playbook against the Dolphins in the first game. When they had majority of their defense healthy, they held Mahomes to a pretty like pedestrian game. The offense just could not do anything, and then in the second game, they had guys who they signed off the streets. It was like that Eagles playoff game from, was it the Seahawks game or whatever, where we were literally just like signing dudes off the street to come play in a playoff game. So
that's say, Josh McCown, go take these snaps, please.
Exactly, dude. So it was a game like that on defense. And that one, like Mahomes was Fangio was just blitzing a ton and getting really just like out of what he does because he had a bunch of guys who didn't know the playbook, who didn't. And we all know the one thing about the Fangio playbook is it's very advanced. Once you get it, you can play fast. So I just think the fact that this defense has had the continuity of playing together and knowing each other, knowing the communications, and just having talent at every level, I just think it makes the equation completely different.
And to that point, just some more statistics that I saw in my research for the pod. But this is the first time Fangio has ever coached a defense ranked first in passing defense when facing Mahomes. And this is the first time his defense has been number 1 in DVOA also when facing Mahomes. For reference, 2019 Broncos, 13th in DVOA. 2020 Broncos, 15th in DVOA. 2021 Broncos, 21st in DVOA. 2023 Dolphins, 19th in DVOA. So I think, the outcome, I guess, of those matchups in the past, I don't want to say they're meaningless to me, but they don't necessarily hold weight when you look at how this matchup could play out, right? Like, you can look into how he's defended Mahomes, like the coverages that he's played or, just his tendencies, but the outcomes, I don't really think they hold much weight. Like you said, Parth, he's never had, personnel that fit what he wants to do. Like, I don't think it's a stretch to say that we haven't seen Fangio at his full capacity versus Mahomes, I'll say. And even when we have seen him in the past, I don't want to say he's limited him, but he's kind of as average as Mahomes has ever looked.
Right.
It's come when he's faced Vic Fangio.
Absolutely. And I think I'm going back and forth on this because, the offenses he faced were also just very different in how they played football. Like, just the Chiefs of every year before this year were just very different than how they're playing football right now. And so I'm curious to see how Fangio adjusts to that because, like I said, playing soft cover and shells is not really going to work against this offense. Like, you can't let them just get the easy yardage. That's what they live on. You need to make every step hard for them. So, but I trust Big Zen. I know he's got probably 2 upper deckies in, just grinded the tape. I got faith.
He was grinding the tape immediately after the game ended. First person off the field after the celebration, he's like, I got work to do. I know the opponent. I don't even have to watch the next game.
I think the thing to consider is like in this game on Sunday, and again, we're gonna get into the matchup on Friday, but like just the overall coaching matchup, man. Like there's gonna be something that Spags hasn't put on film that we're gonna see, just like there's gonna be something that Fangio hasn't put on film that we're gonna see.
Andy.
Like,
and I was just about to say, and I was doing research earlier, and I mean, they pulled out the Rose Bowl shuffle in the Super Bowl. They pulled out, I believe, I forgot what they referred to it as. It's some stupid name. Basically,
cheeseburger.
That play. No, it's worse. It's worse. When I heard it, I was like, stupid. I didn't say it like that. I'm sure you guys can realize what I said, but it was stupid.
Bundle Ruski.
Basically, they have these little weird name plays. That is the one where they ran the 2 times that bagged us both times. They had a name for that, where they pull out these plays throughout the course of a Super Bowl that they haven't done all year long. They have just sitting on ice for these moments. So I know that Andy Reid got something cooking up.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I'm not worried about either, because I think both have proven this year that, and sorry for the audio listeners, we got a question in the chat. What's your biggest worry? Blitzing Jalen often or boxing up Saquon? I'm not worried about either, because I think both of them have proven this year that even when that happens, they're able to adjust. We have built-in answers into the offense for the blitz this year. It's pretty magical to see. There's not just all, 4 verticals and, Jalen chuck it deep and see what happens. And Saquon,
I'll say, I
just want to say one thing. Like, after every team has tried to load the box on Saquon, the thing is you can try to load the box on Saquon, but if you load the box, that means you have one less defender in the secondary. And if we take care of whoever you put in the box, good luck.
So I'll say this. Number one, you can't bottle Saquon. You can't box up Saquon, bro. Like you just said, you bring another safety down, you would throw the ball. But I think for me, just to answer that question, my biggest worry.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. It's just you bring that other safety down. Once he reaches the second level, then what? Like,
Zoom.
It's not.
We've
helping.
seen teams do it. We've seen teams do it all year, even in the playoffs. The Rams tried to do it. Commanders tried to do it. It didn't work. That's why I say you can't really box or bottle up Saquon. Now, when you talk about pressure and Jalen, I will say that for me at least, and again, Jalen Hurts' most staunch advocate on this podcast, I like to think. But
we got to get a soundboard.
We really do. But the one thing that I think that you don't want to see is, those exotic looking pressures from Spagnuolo, where you don't know where the pressure's coming from. And Jalen, like he's done at times this year, he's looking jittery and indecisive in the pocket and not knowing where to go.
Football.
Yeah. I think, again, I keep saying this, but we're going to get into the matchup on Friday. But it's incumbent on Kellen Moore to have a plan, bro. Like, even if you don't know where the blitzes are coming from, you have to be aware that there's a possibility they're coming from somewhere. Yeah, quick game. That has to be an emphasis in this game.
Get it rolling.
I think, when you look at the Eagles' offense this year, they've been at their most efficient when they're in the quick game, when they're operating out of no huddle.
Absolutely. And you need to take advantage of that, because the Chiefs like to sub guys. If you get – I heard this on a podcast. I forget which one, but it was a great point. If you get Chris Jones off the field – you better go up tempo and not let him back on the field. Run the hell out of the ball right there. You know what I mean? Like,
but even to that point, like not even just about Chris Jones, but like when you talk about Saquon, like, and I can't wait till Friday, but this Chiefs defense, like on the edge, like their edges, the pass rush ability of their edge defenders is excellent, near the top of the league. But run defense, that's the area where I think the Eagles can. I'm not gonna say break the game open, but the Chiefs' defense can be had on the ground, and
it can be had. See, that's the interesting thing, man. They can be had. They can certainly be had. But then there's the whole. I mean, of course, we joke like Saquon did the same thing to the Rams. We heard the same thing about the Rams, but Spags' defense doesn't give up 100-yard rushes in the playoffs. And I mean, you look at the running backs that they've played against. I mean, they've stuffed Derrick Henry. They've stuffed Derrick Henry in the midst of legendary seasons, not just regular Derrick Henry. They ain't
seen Saquon Barkley yet.
I get you, man.
They ain't seen this offensive line yet, man.
It's interesting to see, man. It's when I tell you
They ain't seen Jeff
gonna be a
Stoutland run
chess match.
concepts yet, man.
Yeah, they have, man. We played them 2 years ago. My goodness. We just
With
couldn't
Miles
run the
Sanders?
ball.
With Miles Sanders.
I mean, concepts are concepts.
And that's in that sod.
Oh, that's the big
sod
thing.
father.
That's the big thing right there. They said that Caesar's Dome is artificial, so we ain't got to worry about any of that crazy stuff.
Saquon doesn't love
we good.
turf, but at least you got traction, brother. Take it. It's better than whatever the hell that was 2 years ago. Nonsense.
Oddly enough, I mean, Saquon might not love turf, but I think I heard a stat somewhere earlier in the playoffs that we play much better on turf than we play on grass.
I do remember that, which is weird because we're a grass stadium.
Right.
Interesting. Another storyline. Carson Wentz being covered in green confetti, injected into my veins. You know, I was going through some old tweets, and I just saw, you know, my buddy Brandon talking about, oh, you don't have any respect for Carson, all this, and this. Now look. Jalen Hurts has been to 2 Super Bowls as a starter. Carson Wentz been on the bench for both he's been to. Bozo.
Hey, bro, he has been on the bench for both Super Bowls.
Bozo. Clown. How's your John Deere tractor, Carson? Jesus. Remember that? He dropped the ad as soon as he got to Indianapolis. On my new farm, I got my new John Deere tractor. Bozo. Can't stand that guy. All right, Mar says
we gotta go ahead, Parth.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to get to that one, and I got another one I want to get to. We can touch on this one first.
All right. So how big of a worry would a slow start to the offense / Jalen be for the rest of the game? I think that's the worst case scenario. You gotta start early. You gotta start fast, start early, like we said. Get the quick game going, get the RPOs going. Just Tom Brady has said it too. When Jalen Hurts is in a rhythm, he's unstoppable. The last thing you want to see is Jalen back there patting the ball. And the last thing you want to do is be multiple scores down on the Chiefs, because this team has not had to play from multiple scores down against potent offenses like this. The closest it's been was probably the Saints game when they were down in the same stadium. And then, you know, there's the big Dallas Goedert run and everything like that. But yeah, I think that's the worst case scenario, is that they start off slow.
I think it's the worst case scenario, but for the exact opposite reason of you. Because I don't think that we're going to get much traction. I think it could be a lot similar to the last 2 Super Bowls, where the Chiefs offense just hasn't started off hot. They started off very slow, actually, and they've allowed the opponents to gain the upper hand. Now, the Eagles, they know what it's like to gain the upper hand. They had a 10-point lead the last time these 2 teams met in this position. So they understand the importance of not just jumping out, but jumping out early and taking advantage of the circumstances in front of you. Now, my biggest fear is if they don't jump out early and it's just one of those low scoring games, are you sitting here like, man, those opportunities that we missed, the lead, that are those opportunities that we missed the reason that these guys are being left in the game right now? Or are they just, is it a coaching matchup? Like, as long as it's the latter instead of the Eagles just leaving money on the field, as Jalen Hurts would say, then that would be my problem with it.
But I mean, even if you go back to 2022, like you just talked about, Quell, like, I don't remember if they were they up 10 when Quez Watkins dropped the ball.
I don't remember. My goodness.
Like,
please stop reminding me. If I see that play one more time this week,
dude, it pisses me off. He does that stupid mini jump. I forgot about the mini
ball
jump.
smacking him in the hands, jumping at, like, bro.
He did that and he always did that. And we always said, Quez,
he's the reason they lost to Washington, because they did that.
Like, my goodness, man.
But no, man. I mean, I think, like, you know, like you said, man, like, I don't know if you want it to be. Wait, what was the way you phrased it? Where you talked about, like, the reason that you lose is being a coaching reason.
Yeah, I'd much rather the reason that we lost or we're losing in this position, or not even that. The reason that it's a close game in this position because of coaching, much rather than the Eagles leaving money on the table.
Yeah, and just that's why I brought up the Quez Watkins.
You're saying them out coaching?
That's not necessarily out coaching, but I do expect Fangio and Spags to have their fingerprints over this game. I do think they're going to make Kellen Moore and whoever is calling the plays offensively for the Chiefs work for their money.
Mhm.
Yeah. But no, that's the reason I brought up the Quez Watkins thing, right? Like that's an example of the whole money being left on the table thing. And I think, this year, like you guys said, like we haven't really seen the Eagles necessarily, I guess, have to play from behind. So there hasn't really been, I guess, a game where something like that has happened.
Mhm.
So I don't know. I mean, I just think, in this matchup, like you said, Quell, like you'd much rather it be a coaching thing rather than
Yeah, because I mean, we've seen them. Like, if it's a coaching thing, we've seen them play Black Air Force One football. That's no problem.
Yeah.
But if it's you guys are leaving them in the game because it's missed opportunity after missed opportunity, I mean, it's the biggest game of the year. If you think that players are not going to be thinking about that, even if Jalen Hurts is sitting there like next play, next man up, all this other cool stuff that he want to say. If you think Quez Watkins wasn't sitting there the rest of the game, like, boy, what the score would be right now if I just caught the ball. Like, that stuff matters, man. It's going to matter. So, got an interesting one from my guy, Ethan. Go Birds, Ethan.
That was a good one.
How do you feel about Ron Turbot officiating the Super Bowl? I mean, it was a joke last week. The Eagles had Sean Hockey, I believe it was, who they are 6-0 in games reffed by Sean Hockey. And the Commanders fans were out there like, well, of course the Eagles are going to win this game. Do you see? That's why all week I heard, but the refs and whatever. Go Birds. But now you got Ron Turbot.
Isn't he the same? Isn't he the same ref that
Bengals?
The AFC Championship in 2022.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, that and the Super Bowl.
The unnecessary roughness penalty, the unnecessary roughness penalty. I think that was him. Against the Bengals, Joseph Osai, where they set up the 47-yard. Yeah, that was him.
Yep, that was him.
But I think it's interesting to say why I brought this up and why I think it's funny that Ethan brought this up is because the Chiefs are 2-1 by games ref by Ron Turbot. They haven't had a Ron Turbot game all season long, actually. 0-0 this year. But the Eagles are 5-3 games ref by Ron Turbot. 2-0 this season.
Wait, which games did he
send our check?
Which games did he?
I'll send my check. Just send me the address. I got it. I got it, man. Easy. The dollar I got to
something to balance it out.
This dollar I got for the subscribers is going to Torben. Man, you got it. You got it.
All of them.
Yeah, open a checkbook, man.
I got $20. Chris $20 bill with his name on it. I'll send that to him.
Parth, one of the guys that's sitting there like, oh, did I drop that? Oh man,
my bad.
$100 bill.
It would be a shame if somebody were to pick it up and then make sure the Eagles win the Super Bowl. That would be so tragic.
But no, do y'all really think like officiating is going to play a factor or a role into the outcome of this game?
Yeah.
Like I know we've seen the playoffs. Like,
did you watch the last playoffs? Do you?
Yeah, that's what I'm about to say. That's what I'm about to say.
Broken like, as
we've seen the Chiefs games and the way they're reffed and the Mahomes and unnecessary roughness penalties and everything like that. Like, but this, I mean, again, it's happened in the Super Bowl before, but I don't know, man. I don't know.
What makes you say I don't know? You've seen it all year. We've talked about it all year. What makes you think
Eagles, brother? Didn't we go through a whole stat about how we like the least, like the Eagles get the least kind of penalties and stuff?
I will say I saw that, but the thing is I think a lot of it has been coaching as well. We had a lot of penalties at the beginning of the season, if you guys remember. Like there was a lot. Every game, I think the Saints game, there were a ton of penalties, if I remember correctly. But after the bye, they've just played cleaner football, and there have been penalties. It's not like there haven't been. I mean, I think back to what was it? Was it the Packers game where we had like the offsides and then like a hold and we walked ourselves out of a touchdown? So those
even in the Rams game,
in the Rams game. So those penalties still exist, but man, some of the calls the Chiefs get, brother, like look, the Eagles got penalized a lot on holding and offsides and things like that, and those things you can clean up. Getting calls anytime your quarterback gets touched and just getting like, oh, it's a 50-50 ball, give it to the Chiefs. Like those types of things, like, I don't think the Eagles get. Hold
That's
up,
what.
man.
But
Hold
that's what
up,
I'm
man.
saying. Like,
You see that?
yeah, oh yeah, I heard him. I heard him say it for the audio listeners. My little brother, he's in the chat. He's been saying all week if the Eagles win a Super Bowl, he'll be an Eagles fan. He's a Rams fan.
Brother, and anytime he gets on, he's like, anytime Devin is in the chat, he's just like, Eagles suck. Eagles suck. If he's saying that, man, Jalen, bring it home, man. Make it a home united. The sons against the mother, man. Make it happen, bro.
Well, no, man, like that. The reason I said I didn't know, like, and like you said, we've seen it in the Super Bowl before, but like that stuff is bad for the game, man. Like it makes football it makes it an unwatchable product. Like at the highest, like this is the biggest game of the season. Like I don't know if we'll see some of the same, I guess I'll call them antics in this game.
But we saw
I
it in the
believe
Super
they
Bowl.
asked. I didn't get the chance to look at it. You're right. We did see it in the Super Bowl, literally. I believe they asked Roger Goodell about this earlier today. I didn't get the chance to see exactly what his response was, but I'm glad they got the people, the ears perked up. Oh, here it goes. Here it goes. That's a ridiculous theory for anyone who might take it seriously. But at the end of the day, it's something we always have to continue to work on. How do we make our officiating better? Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I remember? I remember the video of him getting picked up and hugging Chris Jones like, ooh, you're the best ever. You're the greatest. I remember that. I don't have a favorite team. Get the hell out of here, man. I know he's sitting in the Chiefs owner's box that's like a freaking mansion in the stadium. I know that's what he's doing. Get the hell out of here, Roger.
Oh yeah, doesn't his owner doesn't the Chiefs owner doesn't he have like a like hotel in the stadium or like a suite in the stadium?
He has a mansion.
Like
he has a mansion in the stadium. It's a 3 or 4 story house, dog, with multiple rooms. There's a
that fountain. Is a damn shame because he literally voted the worst owner in the league because he won't pay to fix anything.
Because he doesn't want to lose the house.
Their facilities, won't be better lunches, won't put them on better planes. And his excuse is because, well, we keep winning. There is no time to do it. Are you serious? This is the damn shame.
Ridiculous. Yeah, like him and Adam Silver. Gross. Nasty work. Never forgiven. Going straight to hell. It's like 7 layers of hell, right? He's going to the 7th. He's going to the bottom layer of hell. I hate those guys. All right.
Adam Silver was a real one. That trade would have been vetoed 48 hours ago.
Brother,
David Stern turning in his grave right now. Like, I cannot
even been a question.
You let him get what?
Get CP3. You think he's letting LeBron get Luka?
You just did what?
Bro, and I'm sorry. Before we get to this, like, it's a football podcast, but like, dude, how stupid is this GM? He was the guy who first off called Steph Seth in the Nike meeting, and that's why Steph signed with Under Armour. He's the guy who fumbled that. And he's also, dude, the deal was originally multiple first-round picks, Dalton Connect, and AD. He got finessed. Unbelievably crazy.
My thing is like, how can I put this? The reasoning that they've given for trading Luka, like the main reason, is insane to me, bro. Like, what did you say? Is he 260 pounds, 270 pounds? Dude still averaged 28 points a game.
I heard
somebody said he could be smoking cigarettes going up and down the court, and I wouldn't care because he was just in the damn finals.
They said my man couldn't lay off the Jose Quell.
So they sent him to LA.
They just want to get him off their hands.
They want defense.
I know. He's fluent in Spanish. That man is gonna be 360 by the time he leaves LA. It's over. You know how good the Mexican food in LA is? Oh my God, he's cooked.
He's still gonna be cooking them with one leg.
Exactly. I love Luka. Okay, let's get to this, and then we have one more question before we head out. So, Foderman Bet said books have the money line at minus 126 to plus 102 in favor of the Chiefs. If you were odds makers, what would your lines be? Don't be stupid.
Yeah, no crazy shit, man. I think it's at about where it should be. Quite frank, it's about where I would want it to be because last time the Eagles were the favorites, and we know how that turned out. I think it's about where it should be based off the fact that, I mean, this game is as close to a pick 'em as it's going to get. Should be Chiefs 1.5. And the big question is kind of like the same thing we've been hearing on our TVs all week long. It all comes down to Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is the big if factor in this game. If we get 2022 Super Bowl Jalen Hurts, the Eagles might have a chance because the Eagles didn't have a run game that time. So now if you putting that on top of having Saquon Barkley with them, we might be in luck. We might actually be
if
in
you get
business.
a defensive performance with that, you're winning by 2 scores. If you get
Miles Sanders,
I can't
Miles
give you
Sanders finished the game with
bro,
16
if you get the
total
Jalen
rushing
Hurts from
yards.
last game in 2022, and you have this Saquon Barkley with this defense, and if they play the way they did last game, I don't see a reason why they can't. And it's not necessarily like 2 touchdowns, but a touchdown and a field goal. I don't see that as out of the
I ratio to your touchdown and field goal to a 8-point game. That's close to I'm getting
Okay.
2 scores as possible.
Okay, no, that's fair. That's fair. But okay, I heard this on a podcast earlier. If you were to hear that a team won by double digits, who would you think it was?
The Eagles.
The Eagles.
Yeah,
And that's not even the
just
homer.
because
they haven't won games by double digits.
Right,
year.
I'm about to say if you look at the Chiefs, how have they won these games? Like every single game has been one score. It's been very Vikings-esque from a couple years ago.
But it's that, and when you just look at the roster side by side,
that don't matter.
The Eagles
if you look at the roster side by side last time, it looked like this.
You had the quarterback, right? You had the quarterback and the coach combo, and that to the point that Shavin was making kind of goes the opposite in that can also determine a game. They can.
To her defense, she said except quarterback.
Okay,
That's
yeah, because the quarterback can take over a game like we've seen.
So it's kind of reminiscent of I heard it on the Philly special pod with Shilk Padia and Sean Syed earlier today, right? They were talking about like, would you rather have the best team or the better player in this type of a matchup, right? And I think, like I said, like it comes down to the team, man.
No, I'm not trying to hear that now, buddy. You better go sit down and get in line, mister. I don't think that if you ain't got a super alien quarterback, you're just not going to win a Super Bowl, man. And I've been sitting here saying team build, team build, team build. And this is the perfect example of team building.
We've had this conversation in the group chat. I'm crying. Quell has been waiting for this moment. He's like, no, this is mine. I'm the team building guy. Get the hell out of here. You wanted Malik Willis. I didn't forget.
It's just,
you're right, bro.
I respected the whole these superhuman quarterbacks win games, but I've been waiting. I mean, San Francisco was a pretty close. I think San Francisco should have won that game last year. I don't understand how they figured out a way to lose it, but that was the closest thing that we have to this.
Shanahan.
Snake oil salesman.
Giving the ball to Christian McCaffrey.
But even then, that's the difference, bro. That's the difference. McCaffrey cool and everything, like he's one of the best when he's healthy. Is almost never healthy, but when he's healthy, one of the best running backs in the league. But Saquon, he's a different animal, man. It's totally different styles of backs, man.
Well, I totally different styles of back, but I think talent level, I think you have to say they're about the same. McCaffrey was special too.
McCaffrey plays 2 positions.
He was nasty level last year, man. It's different types of players. But listen, to your point, the Eagles aren't going to be afraid to stop. They're not going to stop running the ball. The Eagles have this has been their identity all year. Shanahan is known for getting away from the run game when they need to.
But you know what's crazy? That's what I'm about to say. You know what's crazy? Kyle Shanahan, he's a zone run. Like this is his. That doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. He did the same thing.
But I mean, let's be real. All these people have ego, and that's the best part about this team. They've talked about how selfless everybody has been up to this point. Look at Nick Sirianni, who we know the conversation that's been there all year. Get away from the offense. Let Kellen do his thing. How many people in that building have had to have been selfless for this thing to work like it's working right now, from the coach to the quarterback to the wide receivers to the offensive line? Everybody has had to be selfless. And when you look at a lot of these teams, like all I can think about in Super Bowls like this is the Marshawn Lynch, where, I mean, yeah, you could just give it to Marshawn, but Russ and face of the league, and that's the Super Bowl MVP and quarterback. It's a quarterback lead and it's fancy. And I mean, especially when you think about a guy like Kyle Shanahan, wow, Christian McCaffrey was the heartbeat of the offense. What had got them that lead was being consistent, doing a little bit of everything, the ability to mix and match the run game and throw the ball. And for some reason, every time he gets in the Super Bowl, he leans on the, well, hell, I'm going to do what got me here, and I'm going to throw this damn ball. And I just think that's the problem. Now, of course, I mean, I do think, like I mentioned earlier, the Chiefs do a damn good job of bottling up running backs in these games. Will they bottle up Saquon Barkley? I'm not sure, but
no.
Yeah, I have my doubts about that. Everyone, like,
I mean, you saw what James Cook did,
and that's what I was about to get to. Is that James Cook was having his way with them? I mean, they went up and down the field.
He don't get the ball on the last drive. I don't know if it's illegal to give the ball to the running back after.
They didn't give it to him once, bro, and he was cooking them.
And
so that's why I have this confidence. And Bergang Streams asked if the Chiefs get BS calls. We covered it a little bit. They do. But the thing is they got BS calls last game. The Bills still should have won. The Bills still should have won if they just played their game.
Well,
but they got.
No, they would have won. They would have won if Josh Allen would have
pivoted
and
thrown
pivoted
it to
and thrown it. Yeah.
Just press B.
Turn his body to the left and.
So funny that what it was Ryan Leaf, right? He's like, somebody needs to go beat the shit out of this guy. I was like, retweet, brother, retweet. Couldn't hit. Everyone's like, this is so
waiting
wrong.
for somebody to say that about him.
You're like, this is so wrong. Like he's just like Ben's one of the nicest guys. I don't care. He's so arrogant. He literally said, "I'm never wrong." Yeah, you know what? Maybe somebody does need to get stuffed into a locker. Cancel me, whatever. You know what? I'm with Ryan Leaf. All right, I'm with you, Ryan.
Bliss is not responsible for anything this man says.
Listen, Ryan Leaf is with me.
Parth's expressed views do not reflect that of the Philly Blitz as a
whole. They're all saying this professionally. Just wait for the group chat. Dude, thank you for saying that. Bro. We all hate Solak, man.
If this was radio, they would cut your mic, brother.
I'm calling in again. I'm calling in immediately. I'm calling in immediately. I'm picking up the phone and then I'm calling in. Oh, this is caller number 1. Y'all didn't let me finish.
Are we live? Hey, Charlemagne, is this live? Yeah, Rachel. Yeah. All right, so I'm not gonna cuss, but this.
Oh my god.
Hey man.
Listen. Ben Solak is a nerd. The Chiefs can bleed. I'm with the Eagles. So
what's the song, man?
This is a good question. We had dreams and nightmares.
Blow the whistle.
It's blow the whistle, man. They played it on the way to on the way to the stadium when they had the hype thing where they say hi to all the fans and stuff. Blow the whistle was playing there. Gilly was losing his mind dancing. I think it's gonna be blow the whistle. Man. I think it's gonna be blow the whistle with what did his
Gilly
jersey
gonna be
say?
running out with him this
Gilrell
time,
Owens. Gilrell Owens is gonna run around.
Owens was crazy, bro. I seen that. Like what? I bet that was better than Gil Michael Vick.
So, Gil Michael Vick is crazy.
Cool.
Bro, I don't know if y'all saw him at in the locker room afterwards. Brother, his eyes were like this, and he was so sweaty. I was like, dude, what is Gil on right now? And he's talking to the guy. He's like, I love you, man. I love you so much. And they're like, he goes up to Jalen. He's like, I love it, Jalen. And Jalen's like, thanks, man. And Jalen, like, he's just like, his face doesn't change. He's like, yeah. You got to go look up that footage, man. That stuff is golden, dude.
Oh, speaking of footage, man. I know y'all have seen the video or the photo of tonight and Media Day and what Media Day is basically represented as.
Wait, the one of them in the garage?
Nah, it's the guy, whoever the hell this guy is, kissing Nick Sirianni on the head.
That's Ocho, isn't it?
That's Ocho?
I thought it was Ocho.
It is Ocho. I couldn't see. Oh my goodness, Ocho and Nick Sirianni. Oh my goodness,
classic, dude. But what I was talking about is they got the media room for the Super Bowl, bro. I think it's a parking lot. Somebody tweeted it out. It's so funny. They got the tables set up in the parking lot. You know how like parking lots always got like the concrete pillars and stuff. The tables are just like around the pillars, and like the tweets like, "There's a nice breeze in here."
Big shout out Anthony DeBone, a friend of the pod. But
Shout
Friend
out
of the
Anthony.
pod.
Wait, let me see if I can find that picture because that was ridiculous. But for those of you oh, here, I got it. Let me put it in the chat. But for those of you who are just tapping in, we're going to be back on Friday, and we're going to have an actual preview pod, go through
Might even have
offense
a
versus
friend.
defense versus offense. What's up?
I said we might even have a friend.
Another surprise guest. Look at that. But yeah, make sure you guys tap in with us. And listen, so I know I've been asking you guys about dropping follows on the Twitter. A lot of you guys have been, so we really appreciate that. Our goal was to hit 1,000 by March, but we're at like 930. The Eagles are in the damn Super Bowl.
The damn Super Bowl, man.
Go drop
Make it
a follow.
happen.
Goddamn button.
Go drop a follow. Go.
What T? Hey, bro. What T.I. say in that video? Hit the button.
Hit the button. Just hit it, man. And like I said, go find everyone in your home's phone. Go to the Apple store. Just do whatever you need to. Hit subscribe. Get us to 1,000. We appreciate y'all. And here, let me try and get this. Let me try and get this tweet up just so the visual followers can see. They really got him in like the it looks like a parking deck, bro.
Wow. Are those the lines?
Wait, what is
Wow. That is literally a garage.
That's what it
What
looks
is
like,
it?
bro. It looks like there's carpet that they put in. This is the
Look at
media
that
room.
yellow, the lands, like the parking
That's what I'm saying, right there. Yeah, row
This
D
is the
level
NFL
1.
that we watch.
That's
This is $1 billion corporation, y'all.
That's crazy, man.
So wait,
That-
so this is where they have like the media at.
yeah, like the media workroom is what they said. So it's not like where all the players are meeting the media, but like if they want to write and stuff, this is this is what they gave them. Oh man, that's funny, and that's why we're recording from our homes.
Kellen Moore, if that's where you want to go be head coach at, more power to you, brother.
Right. All the news that came out, man. Just wait. Just wait. There's gonna be better jobs. Pull a Ben Johnson. Come back. Let's actually succeed. Let's make this happen. But anyways,
Before we get out of here, the best quote of the night from Media Day comes from some little kid who asked,
oh yeah.
"Are y'all gonna get y'all get back? Are y'all gonna get y'all lick back?" Excuse me. And Jalen Hurts said, "I hope so. That's the goal." Man,
Let's get
these
that lick back.
YNs out here, man.
It's funny you say that because I'm pretty sure it's like that bald kid who's like super professional. You know, the one who always interviews them. He's super cute, man. He's good too. He always comes prepared. He's got like crazy stats off the dome. I'm like, all right, little man, like you got it.
Bro be there every year.
Every year, man, and you know the Eagles kid Gio is there too, so that's always cool, man. That these kids get that opportunity. It's important. Anyways, we appreciate all of you, all 129 of you. Drop that follow like we talked about. We appreciate y'all as always, and we will be back on Friday. Go Birds!
Go Birds!
Go Birds.